Yo, yo, what is up? Of course, once I start talking, a work computer starts. Was that my work computer? Where was that sound from? You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh man, hustle and motivating the house, man. Hey. First of all, let me say this about you, Hustle. I am proud of your weight loss journey, sir. You are very much inspiring. I like to see your updates. You look like a different person, man, for the better. And I just wanted to encourage you because I think that we all need every now and then you wake up, you like it, and I've been there before when you don't even feel like working out. It's just like, oh man, I mean, I know I'm making progress and I'm close to where I want to be. I don't feel like it today, and it's not because physically can't do it. You just emotionally, mentally you're tired. But I just want to encourage you, sir, because that's been a little quiet joy of mine to see you flourishing and achieving goals in that arena. So shout out to you, man. Can't wait for you to get back to doing some content, sir. Oh man, I'm just getting back from vacation. Well, not necessarily really like right now, just getting back. I got back on Saturday, and it's been so busy for me ever since then. I literally haven't had much time to rest. We get so many different things going on, and then today has been a busy work day. But usually what I've done is that when I have a busy work day, I don't go live. And what I want to do is I keep making promises to do more content on the channel, and I think enough promises have gone broken at this point where most people just assume that SloMo just talking. What's going to end up happening is that he's not going to, like, he has the intention and desire to do more content, but he really ain't going to do it. And so I'm not even going to just say it no more, because I think that most people ain't gonna really listen to me when I say it. So I'm just going to do it. And then and as I get back into the mode of uploading videos and doing more, getting back into my video editing bag, people would just see that, yeah, SloMo's back to doing content again. And I got that bug just because I'm seeing things that people say and do, and things and they do upload with their content that I don't like. And so I speak my mind on DPS, of course, and I speak my mind on like Lucas podcast, Scumcast, and occasionally when I can make Brap, I speak on Brap. But you know where you can always make sure that your voice is heard? On your own ish. That's where. Hustle says, how was vacation? Vacation was good. Kids, we took the kids to Orlando it hadn't been their first time there, but my daughter, she was only 3 when we went last time, and she definitely didn't remember anything of that trip. So we went now that she's 7.5, and she'll have a fresh memory of it. And we had never been to, I had been to Disney World back when I was a kid, but my wife had never been, and my kids had never been, and I wanted to take them before they kind of aged out of Disney. And if other people who've been to Disney World know what I'm talking about. Disney is an overpriced experience. I think it's overpriced because the only demographic of children that really like fully appreciate and think Disney Magic Kingdom is magical. I said it on Twitter, the only thing magical about Magic Kingdom is how quickly they can take your money. But the only kids that really feel like this is a magical place are like the age range of 6 to 10 years old. And even then, my daughter, who's 7.5, was just like, she saw the princesses, she saw Minnie Mouse, she saw Cinderella and Moana, and she was like, all right, Daddy, I'm ready to go. It was like 2 p.m. I was like, we ain't going nowhere. I spent $850 plus to get you and the whole family in here. you want to pretend like you enjoy this. Getting the full money's worth, man. But it says Super Mario World there at Disney. I don't think there's a Mario anything at Disney. They got some other stuff that, and Disney's got like really. Oh, real quick, shout out to Web Dave. What's up, bro? Disney's got a lot of smaller, like not necessarily smaller. They use their IP for everything, but the rides are so basic and really so that it's not too scary for little children to ride on it. So imagine if you go to like a different kind of amusement park, like say Cedar Point in Ohio, Great Adventure in New Jersey, King's Dominion in Virginia. You go to one of those amusement parks. So Spot 13, how's it going, bro? And they'll have your roller coasters for like adults and teenagers that everyone will enjoy. That'll be exciting. And then they'll have their kiddie roller coasters for the kids because they ain't quite big enough or ready for a really fast, tall, loop-de-loop kind of roller coaster. That's all Disney got. So, yeah. Cedar Point Amusement Park is a super fun time. Yo, I only been there once, and I was probably, man, it's probably been about 2 decades. Yeah, that's been. When I went there, they had the fastest and tallest roller coaster in the world. So like that's what's up with Cedar Point, man. I love Cedar Point. I don't mean to be mean to Ohio, but I think that's like the only highlight in Ohio. So Royal Boyo in the house. What's good, sir? Hope you're having a great day. Real quick, I did want to make a quick complaint about OBS. I can't stand OBS, man. I've been telling OBS, do not update my version of OBS. I've been saying it every single time it pop up. Don't update, don't update, don't update. I come back from vacation, I open the OBS for the first time, I gotta update. Why did it update? How did it update? When I said no, every single time I open it up, and then I open it up after my PC's been off for a week. And it's updated. And I can't stand OBS. Like I was trying to use it after it did a stupid update, and I'm doing some testing with Ratchet and Clank, which I'm gonna talk about a little bit later. My video for Ratchet and Clank isn't quite ready yet, but it should be ready before the week is out. And I'm doing my testing, and OBS completely craps the bed now for some reason. Whenever I change resolutions within OBS, or whenever I'm trying to change the resolution of a file that I'm want to view, it just crashes, or it drags down the performance of a live game I'm playing, and I'm just like, turn off OBS, everything's fine. Turn it back on, the game runs fine. I hate OBS, is what I'm saying. I might need to start looking at a different solution for going live to do all this stuff. OBS is still the best, I believe. I didn't have a problem with Streamlabs as far as performance goes, but I think that company is shady as all get out, and I don't support them, so I'm not going to. So that's why I don't use Streamlabs, and I just haven't found any of the other alternatives to be as robust as OBS is. So I don't know. I'll need to do some figuring out things. Yo, B in the house. What's up, bro? Yo, B with the 11 months membership for the 10% of class. Appreciate you, sir. Man, you almost out a year. Look at that. Let me see some playing on my modded OG Xbox. Diddy Kong Racing. Okay. Shame we haven't got a Switch remake, man. Look, man, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that then. I'm glad you. That's a great segue. Let's go talk about the Switch. Let's talk about the Switch. Bam. There's a rumor here, and there've been more and more rumors popping up over time about what's going on with the Switch and the next Switch, that is. And what Nintendo was planning for the next console. And I'm fairly certain if you ask Nintendo right now, Nintendo will be like, "What next console? We don't know what you're talking about. We got a Nintendo Switch that sells great right now, and please buy it." Right? But the real truth is that they out here working on their next big thing. And so wanted to kind of like, this was something that was brought up by Video Games Chronicles this morning, and a couple of things that I saw some people complaining about that I don't know is quite relevant to what issues, what things they should be complaining about. Because the very first time I heard rumors about the Switch, I heard that it was like, as far as power goes, it's supposed to be on par with like the original PlayStation 4, which is 2013 hardware, and it's just like Nintendo has not learned anything from the Switch. They just basically just like, nope, all we care about is making a profit at launch, period. We do not care if your hardware is incapable of handling current day games or even our own first party games, which when it comes to the power that you need in order to run those games effectively, our games need far less power than, say, a Sony PlayStation first party game or a Xbox first party game, but yet we still don't have enough actual tech in our hardware to even do that. But our games perform worse than the first party games of our competitors, yet our hardware is far worse than their hardware. It just doesn't make any sense, right? But that's typical Nintendo, right? But here we have says, although specific details of the console are being kept closely guarded, those VGC spoke to indicated the next-gen console will be able to be used in portable mode similar to the Nintendo Switch. So of course, that's the smart decision right there. You clearly going from the Wii U, which was a failure, to the Switch. A good reason why the Switch is so successful is that it is portable, so you're able to take it, and go anywhere that you want to go. The battery life ain't the greatest, but you're able to play that on the go, which is fine to a degree. But it's smart that they will continue that on, because that's definitely one of the bigger positives and selling points of their successful 120 plus million sold Nintendo Switch. Two sources VGC spoke to suggest that the console could launch with an LCD screen instead of the more premium OLED in order to bring costs down. Now, I've seen this. I've seen people complaining about this or discussions about this on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. I refuse to call that X. Screw that. It's Twitter. I've seen people complaining about this on Twitter earlier, and I must say that this is a worthless thing to complain about. So you're complaining that the Switch OLED, which is literally just a regular Switch with just a better screen and a better kickstand, has an OLED screen, but this new Switch won't. What you should be complaining about is whether the games can actually run on this new Switch instead of just what the OLED screen does. I mean, the Steam Deck doesn't have an OLED screen. Nobody gives a crap. I don't know if the Eye and Neo or the ROG Ally have OLED screens. I don't think they do, but regardless, what people care about those particular handhelds about is the fact that they can play Nintendo games better than the Nintendo Switch can. They can play their own other PC games through Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox, Game Pass, whatever, and they can't do those things in the Switch. And those devices are far more powerful and yet also far more versatile. And the market when it comes to these hybrid handhelds was negligent. I wouldn't even call it a market, honestly. It's more of just a different method of being able to access the same content, but the overall gaming market in general was generated by Nintendo with the hybrid handheld console. And now you've got way more entrance in there. I actually saw something today that said Logitech, I think Logitech is going to launch their own hybrid, which to me is just like, all these PC handhelds, it's not going to survive. And look, I like Logitech's products. I think they do really good products. I would never consider their handheld, considering they're coming into this so much later than everyone else. There's not enough people out there, I think, in the demographic wise, that are going to buy these things. Shout out to the homie K Asante. He's going to buy every single one of them and test every single one of them. Him and John Wolf. They're going to be testing and buying both of them. Shout out to them. They got their podcast later tonight where they'll probably be discussing this Logitech handheld in detail. But most people, they're going to buy one. They're going to keep it moving. If they already got a Steam Deck, they may switch to a ROG Ally. They may not. But if you already got an Ally, you're not really looking at what the Aya, Neo, Super Neo, Neo from the Matrix, whatever the heck it's called. You're not looking at Logitech. You're done. Now, to get back to Nintendo, what I'm saying is that you got far more competition for the kind of device that you're trying to deliver to the market. You need to step your game up. And sure, yeah, you're Nintendo, and natively, your brand of games that are quality that people love are going to be natively playing on your device. But so freaking what? Because I can play those games very easily on something else way better. So I don't know. What I do know is that Nintendo has a habit of following up a great hardware launch and great generation of a piece of hardware with a complete lack of understanding of why that was so successful, a lack of understanding of where the market is going, and following up great success with great failure. So we go from Wii to Wii U to Nintendo Switch. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this next thing that came out was a massive dud. But it says, like its predecessor, the new Nintendo console will also accept physical games via a cartridge slot, which, sure, no problem there. Nintendo has said it wants to convert as many Switches, 100 plus million user base as possible, to its next system. Hopefully they don't name it something like Switch U. That probably will confuse people. Although some third-party publishers are said to have expressed concern that legacy support for Switch games can negatively affect sales of next-gen titles. Okay. Why would that? I don't understand why that would be a problem. I really don't. But sure, whatever. All right. Nintendo did not immediately respond to VGC's request of comment, as we would expect. A 2024 console launch would make sense for Nintendo, says Dr. Serkin Toto, Tokyo-based industry consultant. Since it's projected to see double-digit declines in Switch hardware and software this year after it cleared 7 years in the market. There was something I saw somewhere in here that said that instead of releasing early next year, it may release. Here it is, I think. And this is probably from the same dude here. So this is nothing that is suggesting this. The earlier suggestion said early 2024, which could make sense because the Switch came out early in 2017. But this says the only way to stop these losses from totally ballooning next fiscal is a new device in the second half of 2024. It sounds like a realistic release window to me. So that doesn't mean it's really going to release in like the second half of 2024. That's just some guy for, his opinion on when it should drop. So all that said here, I'm not saying that Nintendo needs to go balls to the wall on power and make sure they make the most powerful hybrid handheld on the market. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they need to deliver a piece of hardware that can run at least their own games with good performance. So when I say good performance, I'm talking like between 45 to 60 frames per second and not 30 frames per second barely. Like, they need to be able to deliver at a higher quality clip and at least have their own first party games all be 60 frames per second. They need to get off at the 720p. Let's look at like 900p, 1080p. I mean, for goodness sake, it's 2023 out here. What's up, Ice Queen? How you doing? Let's look at like better performance. And I know Nintendo is adverse to taking any kind of hit initially, but if you make a great piece of hardware and if you market it right and if you have great content for it, you will do like PlayStation does, where they will drop something that they may be selling at a loss at launch, but then within a year, now they're making a little profit. Then after another year, they're making more profit. And then as it's really hitting its stride, they're making a profit off of every sale of the piece of hardware. That needs to be something that Nintendo starts to actually look at, because this idea that you can get hardware manufacturers who are putting your Switch together and giving you the components to it, like the NVIDIA with the APU, the SoC, like they're not giving you that at you're going to get a discount because, of course, you're getting them in bulk, and it's going to be make a selling point to your new SKU. But they're not going to massively discount it just because you want to make a profit up front. Be a big boy, take that hit so that your actual fan base can enjoy your games better. And I do have to kind of throw some shade, a little shade at least. I don't know why my check this out real quick. Oh crap, that's why, because it's I'm showing muted. Whoops, here we go. My icon wasn't lighting up. Not that it matters, but you guys can hear me, so that whatever. The Nintendo fan base deserves some shade for this, because the only way that you can actually deal with this stuff, the only way that you can actually do something about this is voting with your wallet. But you consistently, every time they come out with a new, hey, we just dropped a new game, let's come up with a new version of the Switch that has nothing different to it whatsoever, which is fine. You have your custom consoles, but Switch OLED was nothing but just a new OLED screen. That's it. And that's all you got. And it sells out. And it's just like, well, no wonder Nintendo doesn't change anything. No wonder they don't give you achievement systems or a trophy system. No wonder they don't give you messaging. No wonder they don't give you like actual multiplayer features that even the most basic consoles over a decade ago have, because you don't complain about any of those things. If you don't complain about it, nothing's going to change. You're not going to get it. Yeah. That's all the thoughts I have on that. Let's see here. For your water. Who is for your water? I can chat now. I must know you because you're a mod. The name is familiar. Smiles. Okay, Smiles. There it is. What's up, Smiles? How's it going? I'm just like, who? Okay. All right. Next topic. Let's do this. Next topic is Ratchet and Clank. So let's talk about Ratchet and Clank real quick. And I'm gonna play some footage I got of Ratchet and Clank running on my PC. And real quick, I'm gonna discuss just a couple of things that I'm working on in my video, and just briefly, my video will be far more detailed on the things that I'm gonna talk about, but just so that you guys can see. Here we go. what we're working with. Ratchet and Clank came out on PC while I was on vacation. I was able to get into it, do a little bit of testing. I've done testing on my son's PC, which is, he's got a lot of like my old PC parts that I kind of put together in my old case. He's got my old CPU. It's a PCIe Generation 3 PC, and I say that so that like you guys would get an understanding of what that means, because that's very, very important into terms of how performance will be if you want to play Ratchet and Clank on PC. But before I do that, I do want to kind of get into some of the dialogue and conversation and discussion that's been going on about Ratchet and Clank, because a lot of it is due to people being extremely disingenuous and moving goalposts and not really talking as if, this is what I mean. I'm gonna try to be as clear as possible. Let's go back all the way to the beginning of this whole thing, because there are some things that are correct and there are some things that are being a little bit of like revisionist history. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was shown. It looked amazing, and of course, Sony is talking up their hardware, their PS5 and its SSD, which is a typical generics Generation 4 M.2 NVMe SSD. There's nothing special about it, right? But they have an I/O throughput of data flow on their PS5 that is custom, that is I would say, you can say ingenious. It's well made and well done, and they were proud of that. And what they're doing is they're leveraging their own games in order to kind of show off what those things can do, and that's fine. That's great. Now, a developer, one of the lead developers on Ratchet and Clank, spoke on this and said, "Hey, the PS5, it's the PS5 SSD that's allowing us to do things that we wouldn't have been able to do before. A lot of people have cut it right there, and they only think about that. And there's some people that have been like, they lied, or he lied." The other part that gets cut off, because it really defines exactly what he was talking about, is he's talking about, as he said, previous generations. So he's talking about what they're able to do on PlayStation hardware that wasn't capable of being done on previous PlayStation hardware. That's what he's talking about. So no, Insomniac did not lie about what Ratchet and Clank can do, because Ratchet and Clank can be played on a mechanical hard drive on PC. He wasn't talking about PC. But guess who was talking about PC? You PlayStation fanboys. Because you were out there capping for this hardware that you don't understand. And you were capping for this hardware so hard. Not only were you going after Xbox guys because their SSD was slower than yours, not knowing what an SSD does, not knowing that an SSD doesn't mean doesn't control your resolution, your graphical settings, or your frame rate. Didn't know any of that, but you capping for an SSD. Fine. Do your console war nonsense. Where you messed up is when you said this can't even be done on a PC. And that's where you screwed up. It wasn't Insomniac that lied. It was you dummios that lied. And so when PC gamers got into the conversation and saying, oh, that could be done on a hard drive, when they started talking to developers that said, yeah, that could be done without the SSD, all of this conversation was generated from fanboys being fanboys and talking about things they don't understand. So we fast forward to this year, and Nixus, who are frankly wizards at PC ports, there's no one better, and I think they've done a very good job here with this PC port. Although day one, no patches, it's not perfect. There are some issues, right? But, and by the way, in my gameplay, this gameplay right here is me playing the prologue area on my current PC, which is a i7 13700K CPU, which is a 3080 Ti Founders Edition GPU or NVIDIA. I have 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM. I have a Western Digital Black SN850X Generation 4 SSD. So essentially everything that I would need to run what's up, Rocco? Everything I would need to run this game with no problems, and it doesn't run with any problems. What I do need to do to kind of help complete my testing is to get run through. I already beat the game on PlayStation 5, but run through this section again on PlayStation 5 again, so I can get that recorded and I can kind of compare and do some different analysis there. Anyway, this game comes out. And then you got Digital Foundry, which I think their initial testing, I know they're not done with all of their testing, and Alex from Digital Foundry is also still working on testing for their PC version of Ratchet and Clank. But their initial testing, where they did like a conference call, Zoom call with John, who was on a really old PC. Get wrecked Nuve, I think this is what are you playing? I'm not playing anything right now. This is just footage from Ratchet and Clank. This is I'm just playing game footage right now at the moment. I may later on, if I have the time before my conference calls, I may be playing either Remnant 2 or I may start Telltale's The Expanse, because Telltale is back making games, and I may just play The Expanse, so we'll see. Anyway, they did some testing, and in their testing, a lot of people are basing a lot of their fanboy opinions off of testing that isn't 100% accurate. And the issues with some of the texture filtering, it's weird because it's like if you're playing the game on very high, and this is on very high, the graphical preset for very high. You're playing the game on very high. In some areas, some of the textures do not load correctly, and if you play it on high, those textures look better on high than they do on very high. So clearly that's a bug that needs to be fixed, but people ran with that saying, oh, the textures on the PS5 are better than that they are on the 4090, and it's just like, this is the reason why you dummies are in the positions you're in right now, taking the L's that you take right now, because you are quick to run with narratives on things you don't understand instead of waiting for a actual full analysis to even understand what's happening, why it's happening the way it's happening, and so on and so forth. But or the Dino Halo game, Exoprimal. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I could play Exoprimal if like you're free, Smiles. I might play that when I get done with the topic portion. I'm not gonna have a ton of time. It's just that like I got a hard stop at 4 o'clock for me, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because I got conference calls I gotta do for work, and so far everything I had to work on with work seems to be good to go. So they're not gonna bother me from now until 4. So it is what it is. We'll see how much time we got. But I just kind of wanted to give a brief timeline, like understanding for those who are not into the foolishness that goes on social media with a lot of these gaming communities, or so-called gaming communities, and why there is so much discussion and analysis going on with this game in particular. But what I will say is that from what my analysis is, clearly the SSD is not just the issue, because we've seen testing that if you run the same PC, say you have the same rig, and it's the DDR5 PCIe Generation 4 rig. You got a DDR5 motherboard. You got PCIe Gen 4 slots all through your motherboard. You've got a super current PC going. You got a Gen 4 faster than PlayStation 5 SSD. If you got all this stuff going, it still loads things on, say, the Rift portal rifting, which you'll see later on in my footage. It still does it slower than the PS5 does that. Strictly just that. People are saying the PS5 is, like, as Capone said, people are saying the PS5 is outperforming the 4090 off of literally like 30 seconds of going through rifts quickly. And that's it. You literally don't do it like that for the rest of the game. If you played throughout the whole game, maybe one level where you go back and forth between a destroyed world and it's like, it's kind of reminiscent to take Titanfall 2's level where you go back and forth between timelines. I think that might be the only time where you'll be probably doing a huge amount of rift work like that, but like it really doesn't do it as much as it does it in the very end of this prologue. Regardless, the frame rate that I'm playing the game at, you can see it here. I'm playing over 100 frames per second. That's not possible in your PS5 with performance mode or ray trace performance mode, or whichever mode you want to do on PlayStation 5. It's really silly. But what I was saying was there is a bottleneck. There's a cap. There's a data throughput cap put on the PC version where it doesn't matter if, like, once you hit the level of, say, a NVMe M.2 SSD that's generation 3, that's a PCIe generation 3, that's it. Shout out to Rocco for subbing to the channel. Appreciate you, sir. That's it. You can't, even if you get in, and I have a much faster, I have probably one of the fastest SSDs on the market in my system right now. And I can't run it any faster than I did if I still had my Samsung 970 Evo Plus in my system. I can't run it any faster. And that's also due to the entire data throughput process. So my motherboard's great. My RAM is great. But all of that comes into play because and you'll see it when I come up with my video and you see my full testing. My son's PC, which is a PCIe Generation 3 PC, runs things so much slower than my current PC, and it's not just because the SSD is slower. It's because the entire process, everything else is slower. Even though he's got 64 gigs of RAM, his RAM is DDR4, and so I think, if I recall correctly, his RAM is 3200 megahertz, and my RAM in my PC is 7,000. It's either 64,000. I have to double check it. I think it's 60. Let's say it's 64,000. Okay, let's say it's that. That's still double the speed. It's just little things like that kind of show that, like, there's far more optimizing of this game that needs to occur. But yeah, the game runs to follow this all up, and we can move on to the next topic. Some things can be true and some things cannot be true. Insomniac did not lie because they were talking about the PS4. The liars are the PlayStation fanboys who try to pretend like their hardware is more powerful than the most powerful PCs out there, and then when they get proven wrong, they whine and cry about why you PC guys always trying to compare DOS consoles, because you can't keep PC out your mouth. Shut up already. Okay. That's not the issue. It can run on a hard drive, and that's been proven. Shout out to other people like Alex who ran a test with a 7200 RPM and 5400 RPM hard drives, and both of them ran well. The 5400 RPM hard drive he used was far better than the literal PlayStation version hard drive that Digital Foundry used. And so it's just it can run on the hard drive. It's just not the preferred experience, of course. But regardless of that, Yeah, man. Look, I look out for that video later on this week once I'm able to get all this testing done. It's so difficult trying to balance content creation, playing the games you want to play, and also your other, like, husbandly, fatherly duties as well as work. It's just difficult to get all that done. What do you guys saying here? Capono says with games, it all comes down to the devs, how much time they have, and how much money they have. Exactly, Capono, because if The Last of Us Part 1 port on PC should not have been as bad as it was. It's one of the worst ports I've ever seen. And part of the reason, there's a number of reasons why the port was bad, but a lot of those reasons are, one, Iron Galaxy is not a very good port studio on PC, and yet that's the port studio that Sony has assigned to Naughty Dog for all of their ports. Because you look at the Uncharted, the Lost Legacy collection, that wasn't a great port either. They basically just made sure it was as good as the PlayStation version, and you can brute force more performance with better hardware for the rest, and left it at that. They didn't even attempt to really take advantage of the versatility that you can have with having the PC platform and do new things, maybe add ray tracing. They didn't do any of that stuff. They just ported it as quickly as they could and moved on. Iron Galaxy isn't very good at this stuff. That said, that with the work they did on The Last of Us Part 1, they clearly did not give them enough time. It came out right when the Last of Us TV show ended. So really all it was, hey, let's capitalize on the attention on this IP with all the people that have been watching this really very good TV show on HBO by getting the game out at the same time, and maybe we can generate more sales if we would have waited to an appropriate time when it was actually completed, which probably would have been like sometime this summer. But that's the breaks. That's how things are, unfortunately. Smile says, I think it truly is just that a lot of console players take the word of these businesses' performance chatter as the gold standard, and the majority of them aren't familiar with any of the tech lingo. Smiles, you're absolutely right. A lot of these people talking on these things don't know anything about tech whatsoever. They work at Target. There's nothing wrong working at Target. They work in fast food. There's nothing wrong with doing any of that. They don't work in tech or IT or any of these kind of arenas like I do and like you do, Smiles. But they want to be, they think because they got a following, because they're a gamer, that they need to speak on things that have no bearing on really anything that they understand. They don't understand it. They don't get it. But they still want to talk about it regardless, which is crazy. And at this point, right away, I was turning on ray tracing to test how ray tracing looked and the performance of that. And yeah, ray tracing on my 3080 Ti. Yeah, it took it. My frame rate took a hit. It was averaging over 60, but good grief, to go from 100 frames to like the full ray tracing suite that they put in this game, it was it was performance hit. This is why I play mostly ray tracing off for most games. Joe in the dark in the house. What's up, bro? How's it going, man? Hope you're having a good Monday. What else? I did want to maybe just skip it to the part that people care about the most, right? So here's the boss fight. When this boss fight's over, it is the portal skipping. Here we go. It's about to happen. So this is the part where everyone does all their tests, because it just goes through portal to portal to portal, and the way the IO throughput, data throughput process of the PS5 goes is very, very seamless. You're gonna see here on my PC, it doesn't have any issues. There may have been like a stutter one time or throughout the process, but it goes through it fast. There's no waiting or delay. But I do think it still goes through, and I'll have the test going when I do my video compared to the PS5 version when I get that recorded, that the PS5 version still does it faster, even though my hardware is far more powerful, and that shouldn't happen. So we'll see how it goes, but that's this is my PC running it and running it beautifully. It's a beautiful game. I think still Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is probably one of the best looking games I've seen this generation. I think maybe the only game that looks better is maybe Horizon Forbidden West looks better. By the way, there's a bug here where the jump hazards stays on my screen throughout this process for some reason. But they gotta fix that bug. But yeah, I think Horizon Forbidden West might be the only game that actually looks better than this game. What's up, Corey Hill? How's it going, bro? But there you go. There's the whole game. I'm definitely going to play through this again on PC, and my son really enjoyed watching me do the test on his PC, and now he's going to start the game over and play it on his game. So that's a W for me. I got my son to play something that's not Roblox. So I'm happy about that. Corey says, does anyone know how it looks on Steam Deck? You know what? I think Mr. Joanna Dark may have tested that, if I recall correctly. I think you said you tested it. I believe it looks pretty good, and it even runs on the SD card off of Steam Deck. Like I said, Nix's they're wizards, man. Components of the cast latency makes some difference on RAM. Not much though. It's true. Yobi says, for my games, I have them all on Samsung 870. Okay, so the 870s are like 4 terabytes. Those are, I think the Samsung 870s are SATA SSDs, if I recall correctly. From my OSSD that's in my laptop. Yeah, I think those are SATA SSD. Yeah, and a SATA SSD will run this just fine too. Joanne says it looks good. I have it off the SD card. The art style helps. Yes, yeah, amazing art style, amazing animation. Like Insomniac, I think they're PlayStation's best studio. That's why I give them so much props for the work that they do for them, because just imagine PlayStation without Insomniac making games of this generation. You're looking at far less games and far less sales, because the Spider-Man games have been killing it. Let's talk real quick about Remnant 2. So, gotta speed this process up. Remnant 2 came out last week while I was on vacation as well. I can play here. Me and Forte playing it. I think is Luca with me? Yeah, no, Luca's with me too. Okay, so yeah, this is gameplay. Very very early in the game. I'm enjoying it. I am. I do. Let me get the negatives out the way. I do not like that when you're in the base, the ward, that like you need to talk to people and they don't show the icon on the map of where those people are, and you just gotta basically just wander around until you get close enough where they show the icon of who the person is you gotta talk to. I don't like that. I don't know why they did that. Smile says, did they fix the audio issue with this game? What the sound stage in the first game was, I don't know if they did that. Smile, I didn't notice any issues with the sound. I did think the music in this game is very good though. It really fits the atmosphere. I also like the RNG on the enemies, because I did this last night. We did this the same exact area on Luca's campaign, and she had different enemies to fight than I did. The enemies I fought were very reminiscent of the facehugger xenomorph aliens from the Aliens franchise, as well as other enemies, and it was pretty pretty scary. I'm using Joanna Dark. I'm using the gunslinger, which comes with the I have a review copy of the game, and I got the review code as well for the gunslinger, so that's what I'm using. I like it. I like the gunslinger. He's good DPS. She, however you want to, it doesn't matter which part. But I'm a bit squishy right now. I'm pretty squishy. Like I take damage, and I don't really have a lot of ways to mitigate that with armor or healing. at the moment. It's super early though, so like I know there's a lot that, and I don't take this as like my review of the game or anything, but I do prefer the way Remnant 1 onboarded the gamer with skills and stuff. Like I will beat a boss, right, and just not get any I'll get like something from it, an item or a weapon or whatever. By the way, I'm probably about to get cut right now. Yep, I'm getting cut. This game's far more difficult than the first game, which I'm all here for. I like that it's far more difficult. That said, when I'm actually playing as well with one of my boys who's never played, he wants to play this game, but he wants to play the first game first. So we've been playing Remnant 1, and I started a new character on Remnant 1, and we're playing that game, and I'm just getting like we just killing like just random life scores of enemies, and I'm just getting trait unlocks, put traits, points here and there so quickly, and I forgot how easy that was and how plentiful I was getting, and I was getting that stuff, and I'm not getting that right now with Remnant. But visually, it's running on Unreal Engine 5. It looks great. My only issue with the performance side of things, what's up, True Serum? My only issue with the performance side of things is that the whole game is designed around you using upscalers, which, yes, there's an upscaler for literally every. At the very least, you could use the FSR that AMD makes, but I do not like developers willingly admitting that they basically designed the game around people using upscalers at launch in order for you to get a good level of performance on the game. I think that's pretty whack. I don't, and I'm playing the game at 1440p using DLSS quality with my rig, and my 3080 Ti was just spinning. Fan spinning hard, hitting 99% utilization. Yeah, like my 3080 Ti ain't exactly a joke GPU, and yet it's I didn't attempt this at 4K yet, but I'm fairly certain it's not even worth trying. Capone says DLSS2 has spoiled SloMo. No, it's spoiled these developers because they rely on it way too much, and they rely on upscalers way too much. And I like to, like, when I first play a game, I like to play with no upscalers on. I like to play just, straight rasterization, or at the very least DLAA, which is as close to rasterization you're gonna get with NVIDIA, using their technology on games. And I would like to play it that way because it's gonna look better, and it's gonna be more of what you expected from what the developer expected you to see from the game. Because even though DLSS 2 in quality mode looks really good for the most part, it's still its implementation in some games may sometimes not be quite what is expected with textures and stuff like that. Yes, yeah, Joanne Dark. Remnant 2 is eating GPUs for breakfast. And there are people who've been running this on a 4090, and I think they may have some, like, they don't have as powerful a CPU as I have, or as much RAM, but I've seen people with a 4090 looking at the performance for a 7900 XTX, which is the most powerful AMD GPU you get, and looking at this performance like, are you serious? So it's pretty crazy. That said, I am enjoying it, and I'm gonna play more of this later tonight with Forte and SloMo. I am SloMo. What the heck? Forte and Luca. It's a lot of fun. I just want to get first, like, you can actually have two classes at once, which is really good. There's just, like, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about secret classes and archetypes and stuff that you can unlock, and I just can't wait to just get deeper into it because it's a lot of fun. it's a front it's like a From Software game with guns. It's pretty cool. By the way, those little face huggers, they don't jump on your face. They jump on your shoulders and your belly. Like, you got multiple of them, like 2 or 3 on you at a time. And the way to get them off is a dodge roll to make them come off, which I think is a nice little change to the gameplay. But yeah, like I said, I really like this game, and I just wish it was better. But playing this and playing the first one at the same time has given me an appreciation of both games, the way they do some things. So, Yubby says, love the stories you told those scumcasts, man. Spooky but jaw dropping too. Hey, look, man, it's all about the entertainment, man. What I experienced, I'm glad it gave some people a little bit of spooky atmosphere. I kind of wish some of it you didn't have to go through, you know, at least me personally. For those who didn't watch the last Scumcast on Lucas' channel. We had a good time last Saturday, the day I got back, and I mean we that show may have been 25% about games and 75% about just anything else that came to mind. And we had a nice little discussion talking about like real life supernatural experiences that I or we or other people have had. And I told a couple stories that were true stories that, yeah, you just gotta watch it. I'm not trying to get into it again. It's pretty damn interesting. Last topic before we move on to an actual game, and it looks like I may have time to actually play a game for a little bit. But last topic, I called it community weirdness because it's the unique weirdness of this community that these kind of things happen. But it happens often enough that, like, I feel like I am almost like a broken record repeating some of the same things I've already said. So some of you may recall some months ago I talked about echo chambers, and I was talking about how, and it was really more of a warning to some of these content creators that I'm cool with, and I'm still cool with them. They may not be cool with me after I said what I said, whatever. Like, that sounds like a you issue and not a me issue, but I said as a warning that, like, you got to understand when you cultivate an echo chamber where everyone is all agreeing with one another and all saying the same things and no one can have a dissenting opinion, that when you do decide to have, like, you're tired of not speaking your mind, or you're tired of filtering your thoughts on how you actually feel through the hive mind system that is your content creation circle, and making sure you're not offending someone else who has the temperament and the skin of like basically zero tough skin whatsoever, and can't take any criticism of a piece of plastic that they have zero. They didn't make anything for it. They didn't make any games for it. They don't work for the company that makes any games for it, but somehow they take any kind of criticism to it as if like an actual personal attack on them, themselves, or their family. It's crazy, right? But I warned against these echo chambers because in the beginning, and there's a lot, I would say the vast majority of the people in this community are echo chamber centric. If you are a fan of a particular platform, you're far more likely to go to channels that are going to just, and this isn't for everybody, but what I've seen is that people are far more likely to enjoy the content of channels that wear their brand loyalty on their arm, like as a badge of honor, which is fine, but also don't tend to be very objective when it comes to the other platforms, or tend to be very hypocritical in regards to the decisions and the things that the fanboys of other brands do. And then when it, like a week later, you're doing the exact same thing they are, lying, telling half truths, doing all kinds of other nonsense, right? And it's mind-boggling that people don't see that, or don't, or actually care for that kind of content. I'm not. I actually care more about. I don't care if your favorite brand is Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation. What I more care about is, like, do you have a logical point, and can you argue it? And I like debate. And so maybe that's just me. I've always been someone that's always like gravitated towards debate. And so I think that is rare in this community, because most people, instead of wanting to debate, they just want talking points that they can go use to troll the other side, it seems like. And that's fine if that's what you want. But for the content creators, some of them actually think that they love you. Like they treat you with reverence, and they give you a lot of accolades because you are on the front line giving them the talking points, and you're on the podcast, and you're on your channel, you're making videos, you're saying all this great stuff that they want to hear, and they enjoy that from you. But you got to understand is, as soon as you stop speaking the line, what's going to happen is they're not going to love you anymore. They're not going to be cool with that. And you're not going to get the same kind of response you got when you were, within the echo chamber. And so I say all this because we've seen recently with some content creators where they, and bear in mind, and we're talking about Kid Smooth here, right? And Kid Smooth said something that I do not agree with whatsoever. Like, he said that he thinks, and this is a hypothetical situation because it's not going to happen, right? But he thinks that Apple would be able to manage the Xbox brand better than Microsoft, and he wouldn't mind if, like, Microsoft sold the Xbox division under them to Apple. I have for multiple reasons, I think that's a terrible decision. One, because like Microsoft literally just spent $70 billion on APK. So why would they go sell all this to someone else? That's just silly, right? So we already know it's not happening, right? Joanna Dark, he thought I was talking about Red Dragon. I was like, hey, this could apply to Red Dragon too. It could apply to anybody, honestly. Another reason why I don't think it would, even if it did happen, whether it would work or not, is that Apple. Let's discuss some things about Apple and how Apple operates. Apple makes a lot of money in gaming off of the Apple Arcade. Apple does not make games. Apple does not is not a publisher of those games. They don't do any of that stuff. So Apple doesn't has less experience in managing developers who are making games that'll take 3 to 5 years, 6 years to make than Microsoft has. Microsoft is more experienced in doing that, and there is zero indication that we know of where Apple would be better at it than Microsoft is. Now, if you want to say, and I think Smooth said this, and I agree with this part, that I think Apple would be better at marketing than Microsoft is. Absolutely. Apple's great at marketing. Apple is freaking excellent at marketing. Like they're marketing geniuses. But then the flip side of that is that why are they marketing geniuses, or why are they so good at marketing? It's because everything is about their brand, and everything that they release tells their lemmings that buy all their stuff, hey, this is us. How do you know? Because of the brand, because of the it's iMac, it's iPhone, it's this. Here's some iPods. Here is your i headphones. Here is your overpriced everything i related. Where does Xbox fit into that brand ecosystem? It doesn't. So they would have to rebrand Xbox so that they could then bring it into their marketing brand to make things work the way they want it to work. If you guys are following me, like that, they would change everything about Xbox. They would change the way it looks. They would change the name of it. because it's got to be a part of the I branding so that people know, so that their lemmings know, hey, it's time to buy again because, hey, I see the I in front of the whatever that is, and I know it's time for me to pay money again. Which goes into the other part of it that you guys are really going to hate. If you hate how Take-Two and Activision and Sony and then eventually Xbox and everybody raised their prices from $60 to $70 this generation, you really gonna hate if Apple took over Xbox, because frankly the next piece of hardware they come out with would be double the price of a PlayStation. It will be double the price. And because look at how Apple prices all their products, whether it be headphones, AirPods, whether it be the Apple phones, their computers, everything is way more expensive than their competition, and they're proud of it. They'll tell you it's premium. It deserves to cost more because we're providing a higher quality product. Look at their VR. The price of the VR is ridiculous. So what do you think you're gonna get from the next Xbox or whatever the iBox? Let's call it the iBox, right? Let's say they bought Xbox. They can take the X, they gonna throw that X in the trash can. They gonna put that lowercase I right in front of there. The iBox. How much that iBox gonna cost you, huh? The iBox is going to be like $1,000 minimum. And they're going to tell you it's worth it because we put the best possible APU in this thing. We got the most RAM you've ever had. We've got this, we've got that. And all that stuff is completely unnecessary in a console, but they're going to have it in there, right? And meanwhile, you don't know if they can manage games or not. There's just no way, Apple should be an Xbox. Plus, you gotta go look into the whole. They don't know things, even if they're a huge company. The video game industry is very different from other industries. Like Google tried it, they jumped in here, they got slapped, they left. Amazon is trying it. They're being a lot smarter than Google was, but they haven't just jumped in with Luna and acting like they know fully understand how the industry works. These are things that Apple does not understand yet, and they haven't needed to because they just make money hand over fist on Apple Arcade, and they just put games on the storefront. They're no different than Valve, basically. Valve has Steam, even though Valve makes games or used to make games. They understand game development better than Apple does. But right now, Valve just has Steam, and they get their 30% cut, and they keep it moving. That's Apple with Apple Arcade. So there's just nothing there that suggests that it would be great at managing Xbox. But that's his opinion. I'm not knocking his opinion. I do think that people who are then taking his opinion and then saying, no, but I thought you was an Xbox guy. Were you a pony now? It's like, what? His motivation behind this, and I look, I don't agree with Smooth often, right? But I think his motivation behind this is genuine, that he actually believes this. He's believing it's better for Xbox to do that. People who care more about the fact that, oh, well, you're giving ponies ammunition against us. It's like, what the frick is it? So you're telling me everything that you say out your mouth, everything that you think about when it comes to this brand, you're telling me all of that stuff you filter through, well, what are ponies gonna say about this? What are the PlayStation fanboys gonna say about what I'm about to say? Oh, they're gonna take that as ammo? Okay, I'm not gonna say it. So who runs you? Let's keep it a buck. Everything it seems you say out your mouth is either something that's got to be approved by other Xbox content creators, or something that's safe, that PlayStation fanboys can't latch onto for narrative. So what you're saying is that you're not criticizing Xbox objectively, and you're not saying anything that is too far out of the way, but it's still your opinion and your thoughts. It's just like, so what are you? You're just another run-of-the-mill Xbox content creator? Bear in mind, I'm not trying to just go on Xbox content creators, because I see this on both sides. I've seen PlayStation guys criticize things that PlayStation do, and see the PlayStation content creators get up in arms and say, oh, you're pandering to a particular audience. Oh, you're trying to get that bag. Oh, you're flip-flopping. And it's just like, dude can't have an opinion? Really? I mean, come on. Can he have an opinion? Why is his opinion now an indictment on him as a gamer and him as a fan of a particular platform? It just seems to me some people like to try to find a way to what's the word I'm looking for? Undermine the thoughts and voice of other people. And this is why, when it comes to me, you rarely see me retweeted and liked on Twitter, not X, Twitter, by a lot of these people, because they don't like what I got to say, and they only support people who are in the hive mind, the ecosystem. And I'm not just talking about Xbox again. I'm talking about all of it: PlayStation, Nintendo, who the freak ever, PCMR. If you don't speak the language of the hive, then you don't get any of my support, period. And guess what? I don't want your damn support. And so this is why I am glad I'm in the lane that I'm in, because I don't have to worry about filtering anything I gotta say for anybody. I ain't got people questioning whether I'm a gamer or enjoy a particular platform games because I had an opinion about a platform. Check my gamer tag and shut up is what I'm gonna say. I play more Halo Infinite than you. I body you in Halo Infinite. I play more Xbox games than you. I play more PlayStation games than some of these guys that's out here day and night console warring for PlayStation. And I play more of their games and beat more of their games than they do. It's wild. But once you see through the nonsense, you get to sit back and just be like, I don't care what y'all got to say about my opinion. And I'm not going to care. And I'm going to keep saying how I feel. And if you don't like it, and if you don't want me to guest on your show, well, cool. I don't want to be there anyway. If you know, the entire chat's going to be crying about my thoughts, and you're waffling, don't have a counter argument, and your only counter argument is, oh, well, you're just a PC guy. All right, well, or you're just a pony. All right, well, you're just an Xbox. Literally, I've heard this like all the time. Like, I go to guest on someone's show, and the show may be PlayStation centric, and so I say something that's not very a part of the hive mind there, and then they're like, oh, who let this bite on? Flip it to the Xbox side. Who let Pony SloMo on the show? I say something like, why do y'all care about the power of your hardware on consoles? You know it's a console. You know it's compromised. You know it's old tech. Why are you shocked when they can't do certain things? Your hardware isn't powerful for that. If you really want all that, go to PC. Let this PCMR bastard on the show. Just ignore everything this hardware NVIDIA dick rider says. You know, it's just like, all right. Is what it is, right? I'm not gonna filter my opinions for nothing now. So I think a lot of content creators, as they start to get comfortable, they stop caring about what people think about the things they say. And I've seen some guys who grew really huge platforms start to speak more openly about how they feel about things. and see the people that used to love them just love the this guy, he's the go-to person for X, this, that, or whatever. Oh yeah, I don't like their show no more. I go over here for my content on that night. You know, it's what it is. You'll learn, and then you'll stop caring about what the people care about, how you feel about things. So, ran over. What are we playing? Oh, what are you guys saying? Let me go scroll back up. I'm sorry. I have been looking, but I've been kind of like rambling and talking, so it is that. Let me go up a bit. Joanna Dark says, facts, we should be able to listen to different perspectives and filter the noise, as there are good conversations to be had and learn from. Agreed, 1000%. He says, I can't find any Nintendo channels. There are Nintendo channels out there, Joanna Dark. It's just they're not within this section of the gaming community, because a lot of the Nintendo fans, they don't really like care to talk trash about other platforms. They don't care about that. They don't care about they just care about Nintendo. And so they don't really get involved in the other stuff. And so I guess like the algorithm just doesn't really find them for a lot of people. Smile said, not gonna lie, the dog is putting in some work in this clip. Wait till you see. I think I don't know if I recorded it or not. Me, Forte, and Luca did a boss fight last night where the dog will revive you. The dog puts in some work. That class, I forgot the name of the class, where is you get a dog. That dog is pretty cool, and you can pet him as I'm petting him right now. Let's see. Capono says, basically a person that is happy with life doesn't go on the internet and spread hate. Lord hammer, Capono. Who gave you the facts bomb today? Who gave you that level of truth? Sir, the internet can't handle that level of truth. It can't. It cannot. The internet just can't handle that. Joanna Dawg said, oh yeah, bro, probably, I thought you were talking about Red Dragon. Yobi says, don't matter if you switch your content up in the future from gaming to something else, you will always have a supporter in me. Yobi, that's love right there, man. I appreciate you, bro. You always a bit of real one from day one. Lady Foxfire, shout out to Lady Foxfire. We gotta get into some Halo, Lady Foxfire, because I still can't believe you said that. It's Smooth. I'm not shocked by anything Smooth says, and that's not an insult to him. I'm just saying. He says some stuff that's just off the wall. I'm never shocked by it. So it is what it is. People forgot the Pippin 2. They would call it the box of apples. I think the iBox works. I think if they did their own like gaming console, Apple would call it the iBox, and they definitely would change the name of Xbox to the iBox. Absolutely. Also, wouldn't surprise me at all if they somehow sold the Xbox division to Apple. I do not think Apple would have to be, and look, I'm no regulator or lawyer, so I don't know, but it would seem to me like they wouldn't need to be beholden to the same agreements that Microsoft made. And wait a minute. Okay, in order to get it past regulators, the regulators probably would force them to make sure that they made new agreements saying they would agree to it. But let's say they didn't do that. Let's say they just sold it, right? Without any regulators saying anything in the sale, which would be impossible at this point, considering the amount of attention in the video game community as it is, the video game industry as it is from governments and whatnot. Apple absolutely, completely unhindered, would take Call of Duty off of everything and just put it on the iBox. It'll just be on the iBox, guaranteed. Okay, let's see what else was and listen, X will always be called Twitter, just like Coming to America. His mama named him Twitter. I'ma call him Twitter. Enough said. Facts. It's Twitter forever. Forget what they said. Did they get slapped? LOL. That's all money be made without doing the legwork. They seen how much it would really look. They was like, all right, fam, we ain't built for this. Right. Yeah. And yeah, Google tapped out early before they realized how much money. Once they realized how much money they had to spend, and this was right around the time Xbox, Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media for 7.5 billion. They were just like, excuse me, you did what? And you got more content than we do, and you still did this? We good. We ain't doing all that. Captain Crunch's Ribbon 2 is a thing of beauty on SX balance mode is really nice. I haven't played in balance mode yet. I've only been playing in DLSS quality, but yeah, I might switch to balance today and see if I can play it on 4K balanced and see what my frame rate looks like. These monsters are nightmare fuel. Components is a SloMo's point, but we should respect that we don't think alike. Yeah, and that's fine. And I understand that there are people who don't think like me, and I've got no problem with that. I don't expect people to think like me. I don't expect everyone to think like me. I think that's kind of arrogant. I think that everyone should think like you. But that said, when I think people questioning someone's fandom or questioning whether someone's being genuine with the things that they are saying, considering, and then they'll at the same time be like, this guy's always saying crazy stuff. It's just like, well, which is it? You just said he's always saying crazy stuff, but then you're also saying that he's been now being disingenuous. It just seems to me you're just trying to undermine the things that he's saying because you're more concerned about console wars than you are about, you know, what the person actually had to say. Let me skip ahead because I know we fit some stuff. Where it is? Oh yeah, this boss fight, man. Watch this disgusting boss. It took us a while to finally beat this bastard. What else were you guys saying? I'm gonna use SloMo. All these brands have crazies. Yes, they do. When do you get the time to complete all these games, says Smiles? I don't. This is probably the least amount of games. I've completed, I think, 16 games so far this year. And I feel like every year I'm behind where I was the previous year. And so for me, which is fine because I enjoy my live service multiplayer games, and I know those aren't really credit towards, say, like completing a game. But I enjoy those games, and I'm not going to stop playing those games. Yet at the same time, I try to find time to play the games that I can play. And so I'm still playing like Jedi Survivor, still haven't beat that. Still playing Chained Echo, still haven't beat that. I think I am kind of like leaning more towards games that are shorter so that I can complete. It doesn't take forever to complete them. That is definitely now a part of my decision to play some games. But doing that with content creation, with family stuff, it's always a balancing act that I freely admit I don't do well. Like the content creation side of things has definitely taken a hit because I've always said that I'm going to care more about playing the games I play than content creation because I'm a gamer first. But it's been, I feel bad when I have ideas for content that I want to do and then I don't get to finish them or end up achieving them because of other things. And I feel bad because I kind of like talk about these things with you guys, and some of you guys say you're really interested in that content and then I don't deliver it. So that's on me, and I apologize for that. So I'm gonna get, like as I said earlier in the show, I'm gonna get better at that than I am currently right now. T. Harris says, is it the devs' fault for PC Ratchet? Well, it depends on what you want to blame the devs for. If you want to blame the devs for the texture filtering on the very hard, very high preset being bugged, then yeah, that's Nix's fault. If you want to blame the devs that like PCIe Gen 3 hardware is doesn't perform that great on the game, sure. But it depends on what we're blaming the devs for. I mean, I think they did a great job in getting the game working with direct storage. With the only game on PC using direct storage 1.2. There are some people out here that I'm waiting on some of the testing they're doing. I'm not going to do this kind of testing. Some people are going to turn off direct storage, which you can't do in the menu. It's always on by default, but you can delete the files out of the install folder, and that will basically be turning direct storage off. And some of the performance they've said suggests they think that direct storage is bugged. I don't know, right? But I'm not blaming any devs for really anything in regards to where the performance is for PC right now. It is what it is. But Capone says PS5 outperforming a 4090 has to be the top statement from a PlayStation. I say it's probably a top statement from a PlayStation fanboy that don't know what the heck he's talking about. I think most PlayStation gamers don't care about any of this. Like, a real PlayStation gamers don't really care. They care about things on PlayStation. They don't care about a PC port of a PlayStation game. I don't really think that they if it doesn't have anything to do with PlayStation, I don't think they care. Ice Queen Gaming says, I can stay away from some Xbox channels because all they talk about is who is Microsoft buying next, and it should be about the games. And you know, I prefer a balanced palette of. I got damn sick of the ABK discussion, but I don't mind some talk about acquisitions, but it shouldn't be the focus of your entire show. And maybe that's just my opinion, right? You should be talking about the games you're playing, the games that are coming out, what's new coming to the platforms that you're excited for, as well as like some theorizing or predictions of what might be coming in the, you know, like on DPS we do stuff like that. Like, we'll talk about what we think might be the next acquisition every now and then. We've often talked about who we think will be nominated for Game of the Year based off of what we've seen and how games have performed so far this year. And that's stuff that comes up often, usually after a really good game releases, and we see where it may shake out with things. I'm pretty sure on DPS this Thursday, probably talking about Remnant, and in that regard, in my opinion, I don't think Remnant has much of a chance based off of the fact that it did not review that great. I think the Metacritic scores are too low for it to have any chance of being a Game of the Year contender. Not that it will ever have a chance of winning, because we all know Zelda's gonna win. But what else? They don't play games. Buying is all they can offer. Some people don't even do that. Don't play games, don't buy games. Funny. Let me. Oh, it's not. It's okay. It's 3:42. It's 3:42. I gotta get off this thing in 10 minutes. So damn it! I ran my mouth too long. I'm not gonna be able to play anything. But instead of that, I wonder if, you know, let's just do a Q&A at this point then. I'm not gonna play anything. Y'all ask me, let me get some of my iced coffee here. Y'all ask me some questions and I'll give my opinion on it. Smiles says I'm gonna start my stream at 4, so I gotta run myself. Okay, no problem, Smiles. But yeah, ask me some questions. If y'all don't have any questions, we're gonna end the stream. where it is right now. And I appreciate everybody for coming through, as usual. But I'll get up out of here if this. Oh yeah, Division 2. Yobi says, what gaming IPs you would like to see return? I would love to see Diddy Kong Racing. I would like to see. Okay. I would like to see a remake of the original Xenogears from PlayStation 1. That's one game. I would also like to see a remake of Jade Empire off of the original Xbox. I would like to see a remake of Chrono Trigger where they completely make it 3D. They completely redo the entire world. I don't want it like in like an Octopath Traveler kind of art style where it's like it's a more modernized version of the same kind of game. I want like the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment to Chrono Trigger with and here also now I'm getting my bag. Here's my theory with that. Check this out, right? So you guys who played Chrono Trigger before with Clash, because you guys have Clash. You guys who played Chrono Trigger before, you know how Chrono don't speak in the game. I think instead of completely kind of changing the tone and feel of the game by giving Chrono a voice, instead, bear with me here, okay? Instead, you make Chrono disabled. And what I mean by that, you make him mute. So when he does speak, does give his thoughts and opinions, he's doing it through sign language. Am I crazy? Is that a crazy idea? I just think that would be awesome. But then I don't know. Maybe I have to ask the homie Agent Deli, on animation wise and game engine wise how that would work, because accurate like sign language, like that'll be dialogue for like there'll be like unique dialogue for every single like statement he makes. And then would that work? Because like you look at like The Last of Us Part 2, they got like 40 different animations for somebody walking through a door, which is unusual. And that's just walking through a door. This would be hundreds of animations for just Chrono standing there and doing sign language. So I don't know. I don't know if that works or not. But that's my idea. Who else are you guys? Yobi says Bushido Blade and Jade Empire was playing this last week. You know what? Yeah. Why haven't we had like a Bushido Blade kind of game come back yet? Like that game was very simple in its approach and game design. It's something I think even an indie developer will easily be able to implement. We need to have more games like that. Pona says, can you give your thoughts on the VRAM Boogeyman? Okay, so I've said this before. I think right now, if you're thinking about building a PC, shout out to homies like Ramon Terrell, thinking about building a PC. I'm saying this to anybody that has these thoughts. Do not build a PC with a GPU that has 8 gigs of VRAM. You are asking to basically waste your money and have to try to replace that GPU, which is not going to hold its value very well. Within a very short period of time. Already right now, 8 gigs of VRAM is not enough for max settings on games at even 1080p. So you got to do some optimizing of your own if you got a 8 gig VRAM GPU. Now, I'm not telling you right now that if you got a 8 gig VRAM GPU in your system right now, then you are SOL. Not today, but next year, 2025, you need to replace that thing. I think I think for AMD, Intel, and Nvidia right now, if they release any new products that aren't 16 gigs of VRAM, it's an automatic L. I have a 12 gig 3080 Ti in my rig right now. I think that's the minimum you should have if you're building a new PC, is a 12 gig VRAM GPU. Because there are very few games, the only games that are using more right now, using more than 12 gigs of VRAM, are really unoptimized games. Like Forspoken, when it first came out on PC, was using more than 12 gigs VRAM, super unoptimized. The Last of Us Part 2, unfinished game, was at times was using more than 12 gigs of VRAM. 12 gigs of VRAM, I think, especially for 1440p, is absolutely where you could actually max settings a lot of games. And a lot of times I see games brand new. I play at 1440p all the time because I want my frames instead of 4K, and I will max settings the game and get like 120 frames per second or close to it, and not be touching 10 gigs of VRAM. So depending on the games that you play, even if they're new releases, 12 gigs should be good. Enrique in the house. SloMo's alive. Yes, I am. I'm here, man. I made it. Made it back to good old Maryland, as we say around here, Merlin. How you doing, Enrique? Hope you're having a good Monday, man. Skies of Arcadia is the easy answer, closely followed by Panzer Dragoon Saga. I guess that's your thoughts of bringing games back, Pixel. Some other titles that I would like to see come back. I know there is Knights of the Old Republic is being worked on. I don't believe in the current project that Sony and Lucasfilms have currently going on. I think I also I know there's some people who feel like they think that Bluepoint might be able to do a good job of a remaster or a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. The thing is that like the game is so old, it's 2 decades old, that like this isn't. Like you look at like the excellent job that Bluepoint did with Demon Souls, but it's almost like a 1-for-1 rendition of what the original game was. We don't need that with Knights of the Old Republic. We need all new environments that have a similar art direction and similar feel to what like the different worlds in the Star Wars universe and the Outer Rim that Knights of the Old Republic takes place in. But we don't need 1-to-1 anything. We don't need like that kind of remake that they have done in the past. And at least I can say with Bluepoint is that Bluepoint wouldn't alter the story. They seem more faithful to just giving you exactly what you got before, which would be great. But I don't know, like actually I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind them not changing anything in the dialogue or side quests or anything, but it seems like that's what Aspire and Saber Interactive were attempting to do. I just don't believe in that project whatsoever. I would much rather they just not be on this anymore. I think there's very few moments I'm actually rooting for a game to get canceled, because I just don't want a subpar product to sully the IP and the put a stain on what is considered one of the best RPGs ever. So I kind of just don't want them to even be working on this anymore. I would like Sony. I wish Sony would just say, "Hey, we're dropping out of this," and it get canceled, and then maybe Lucasfilm Games could start over with someone like Larian Studios working on this, or maybe get in touch with Microsoft, get Obsidian on it, who did Knights of the Old Republic 2. Somebody that is, or some of the older, some of these new studios that have branched out from ex BioWare developers could do it. just anybody than what the current the development studio is on it. And no shade towards them. I just don't have any faith they can do a great job. Enrique says, SloMo, do you like Lito's Pizza? Like, Enrique, do you have we not been doing a podcast for years? Like, what? Of course I like Lito's Pizza is the best pizza in the Washington D.C. DMV area. It is absolutely the best. Lito's Pizza is excellent. So good, then I think I might have some for dinner tonight. Now that I think. And I'm allergic to dairy, and I'll still be like, you know what? I'll take it on the chin for Lito's Pizza. Okay, 3:54. I need to get up out of here. So let me go wrap this up. I gotta get prepared, some notes prepared for my conference call at 4. But let me shout out some people for coming through. Appreciate you guys. Pixel Slapper, thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. Enrique, Capono, Yobi, Smiles, Ice Queen, Captain Crunch, John the Don. What's up, man? Sorry I didn't see you before. T Harris, Nam Omar, Mr. Joanna Dart, thank you for coming through. Capono, Lady Foxfire in the house. I don't think Truth Serum. And I think that is Get Wrecked, and Hustle, the homie Hustle and Motivate. And Yobi, thank you for re-upping on the channel membership. Appreciate you, sir. Once again. We're gonna get up out of here. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. Hope your week is fabulous and you enjoy your games as well. Because I know I will. And hope you guys take care, man. Peace.